Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. Superintendent of Schools Dr. Patricia Grenier on Tuesday night presented to the school committee her preliminary assessment of the fiscal year 2012 school budget. And according to Dr. Grenier, the school committee will once again have to overcome a significant budget gap. We'll have more on that in a few minutes. First, we'll hear from Barnstable High School Counseling Department Head Marie Anderson, who was before the school committee Tuesday to explain another step forward for BHS's already extensive advanced placement program. The high school is now giving students committed to taking multiple AP classes the opportunity to earn an Advanced Placement International Diploma, or an ADIP. Here, Anderson outlines the ADIP and its benefits.
To start, the definition of the Advanced Placement International Diploma, which we refer to as APID, is that it's a globally recognized certificate for students with an international outlook. It challenges a student to display exceptional achievement on advanced placement exams across several disciplines. And it's recognized by universities globally. A typical Barnstable High School student would have these courses in their sequence. They would take 5 advanced placement exams and receive a score of 3 or better on the exams. The AP exams, as you may know, are scored 1 through 5. And if a student achieves a 3 or a 4 or a 5, they can either get advancement or credit at a college they attend, depending on the college and their policy with advanced placement. So the first one would be a world language, and that right now for Barnstable is our Spanish and French programs. Currently, the College Board does not include Latin as a world language, although they may consider that in the future. Secondly, the English Literature Advanced Placement course, which typically students take as a senior, and the World History course, which students typically take as a sophomore, and then 1 exam from the science or math areas, and that allows them 6 options in those 2 subject areas, and 1 additional exam from among any content area except English or world languages, and we offer 5 options for those areas. The benefits of APID are that because the student has achieved a certain standard in a variety of courses, colleges, particularly outside of the U.S., will look at a student as a well-rounded student. So it sets a standard for our students to match. It provides additional certification of outstanding excellence while challenging a student to display exceptional achievement on AP exams across several disciplines.
When it comes to the fiscal year 2012 school budget, preliminary figures would indicate that Dr. Grenier and the school committee will have their work cut out for them once again. Dr. Grenier on Tuesday night spoke in general terms about what the school committee will be facing and about some possible solutions to make up the deficit.
The first run of the budget, and this is basically a level service budget with a couple changes, maybe 3 or 4 that have to happen. For instance, we had a higher than expected number of kindergartners at BWB this past year. As you know, we hired 2 co-teachers, and we kept the kindergarten assistants full day because the class sizes were at 25. Next year, and we used ed jobs and other funding sources to do that. What we are doing now is that we took those positions and we said we absolutely need an extra teacher for next year. So it's level service with that modification, and it's level service with knowing that our nurse leader, Rosemary Aiken, has been 50% funded by a public health grant that is declining, so we put more. So just a couple caveats. We did estimate 10% increase in health insurance, and we did estimate increases in utilities in the area of not electricity, not natural gas. Thank you. Thank you. Oil. And as we go to the gas pump, we recognize that gasoline prices are skyrocketing right now. So we will have a breakout of those particularly. When all is said and done, we estimate a $2 million shortfall from where we are in our level service request to where Mark Milne was with revenue projections. The $2 million shortfall takes into account the full utilization of this fiscal year's circuit breaker money, the special ed reimbursement money, and it takes into account the use of $500,000 of ed jobs one-time money. So that's with that. Mark Milne, Gareth, and I sat down today, and we went through other accounts which are typically used as offsets: school choice money, transportation fees, circuit breaker from the current fiscal year, that the current fiscal year being 12, and any current fiscal year, this current year carry forward that we would have leftover money from this year that we would carry over for next year, and the savings account. The challenge will be that I will present to the school committee. We can make up the deficit in a myriad of different ways. I've just delineated for you school choice, transportation fees, circuit breaker from the current year carry forward, and the savings account. I've identified 5 potential funding sources. The challenge will be for the committee to say, or for me to recommend to the committee, and then the committee to determine how much you want to use from each of those funding sources to make up the gap. Now, you've used school choice ongoingly because it's really not a one-time revenue. It comes every year. We've used transportation fees because that comes every year. We use circuit breaker, it comes every year. The 2 that do not are carry forwards and the savings account. And as it stands now, the town council has a budget policy that does not allow the use of the savings account for operating costs. So I have utilized our school committee finance subcommittee in Fran and Margot, and met with them a month ago to talk about this use of funds. And Gareth and Mark have taken and gone out 2 to 3 years in the projection of the use of these funds, a similar exercise that you had asked that we do 2 years ago when settling the teacher's contract. We have that information for you for the next meeting. So what I'm going to be asking is a finance subcommittee meeting of the school committee in the next 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now, and where we will go through this and look at those one-time funding sources and reoccurring resources that come from outside of the town's allocation, and make a recommendation to the committee for the February meeting. So it's dicey, and we've recognized that it's dicey. So we have to continue to be a productive school choice district, because we are now starting to rely on those funds to support us, but that's what those funds are for. We have 89 students who come to Barnstable. We're supposed to use school choice money as an offset. We collect transportation fees because we said we couldn't afford to do transportation without the fee structure. So it's an ongoing, so those offsets are natural offsets. So I will present that as I have. It's not unusual for us to use school choice or transportation. We do it every year.
Dr. Grenier said that she'll make a complete budget presentation at the school committee's February meeting. Well, that's all for now. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.